This is the future.
Before we discuss another farming video, I would like to discuss this important matter about the biggest buffs and nerfs Digital Extremes have imposed after they have launched the Angels of Zariman update. I'm not talking about the obvious things here, like telling you again about how insane the new focus are, or the Eximus rework. What I'm about to tell you are the changes they have made in just a couple of days after the Angels of Zariman update. Also, please stick until the end of the video as I got a very important question for you guys. The first big change is the operator buff. Digital Extremes added a couple of quality of life improvements to the operator. They increase the base health, shield and armor of the operator, and shield gating now applies to operators. This means that you can negate the transference debuff easily now, and you have no reason to get owned by those magnetic procs from the Eidolons, or even get affected by the annoying transference static debuff by all enemies, since you have a couple of seconds to transfer back to your Warframe with the help of shield gating. They also added plus 200% armor to enduring tights, and changed to be a stacking modifier instead of multiplicative to match math logic used for other buffs. The increase in Magus Vigor and Magus Husk Operator Arcane's buff are also solid, giving more survivability to the operator aside from the shield gating mechanic. With these quality of life changes, operators are now tougher not just on Eidolon Hunt, but also in Star Chart missions and even Steel Path levels. Speaking of Eidolon Hunts, I think that players can still do 6 hunts in one night, even in solo, but the meta shifted from having 2 focus great for solo Eidolon hunting, to only 1 right now, as it seems that Unaru Wisp doesn't proc when you use Caustic Strike against Eidolons. The requirement for Unaru Wisp to proc is that enemy should be hit by Caustic Strike, but it seems that it's not working on Eidolon hunts no matter what part you hit. The only time you can proc Unaru Wisp is to hit either to Grineer enemies, those conservation animals, or even the Vom Valist, but don't expect Unaru Wisp to proc right now when you hit an Eidolon with Caustic Strike. I'm just hoping that this is just a bug, and it will get fixed soon. The most meta focus right now in terms of Eidolon hunting is the Medurai focus, but not because of the new Void Strike. The updated version of Void Strike is troublesome despite its power, since you need to wait for a very long cooldown. The most important factor right now in terms of Eidolon hunts is the power transfer ability, which increases the amp's critical damage. This pairs well with your Virtuous Shadow Arcane, but you will need to use an amp that could hit the head of the Eidolons to proc Virtuous Shadow easy. You can use the Raplik Prism for this, and you can just rely on the Propos Atom Bomb attack to break the shield of the Eidolons fast. Also, Volt Shield does pair well with Virtuous Shadow and Power Transfer, giving you more critical damage into each void attacks you make. This only means that Volt is more meta than ever when it comes to solo Eidolon hunting, or Eidolon hunting in general. As for Unaru, this focus shifted right now as an all-rounder focus for Star Chart use. The utility of this focus is insane, as it can strip both armor and shields of an enemy with its Caustic Strike and Magnetic Flare ability respectively. This is a huge buff to this focus school, but then again, the Unaru Wisp not proccing on Eidolon hunts is kind of disappointing. By the way, there was a short time that Magnetic Flare strips the Shield of Prophet Taker, making it a very easy fight and cemented it as the best credit farming method in Warframe for like a couple of days, but now, that is gone. Another disappointing thing is that Cascadia Overcharge doesn't work right now in all weapons, and that Red Crit Baroque and Valkyr build I have shown you earlier this week is just a waste, as it turns out to be just a bug. The Arcane is just only exclusive for secondary weapons, but it doesn't work with exalted pistols like Mace's Peacemaker and Titania's Dex Pixia. It was great and fun while it lasted, and now it's completely gone. Next, we talk about Eximus rework spawn rates being changed. It seems like someone messed up the Eximus rework on day 1 and, previously, spawn scaling was uncapped. Now it scales by squad size to take into account solo players versus squads. In other words, Eximus have the same percentage to spawn for each enemy, but once you hit the simultaneous Eximus cap, no more will spawn until they are killed. For solo player, there will be no more than 2 Eximus at a time. This is consistent with non-endless mission caps. For 2-player squad, 2 Eximus max at a time. For 3-player squad, 3 Eximus max at a time. For 4-player squad, 4 Eximus max at a time. While I admire the challenge that the new Eximus rework added into the game, I must agree that it was not balanced and implemented well. The absurd spawn rate may be the cause of the turmoil that was happening in the game with players against Eximus units. It creates chaos and most players don't like it because Eximus was way too strong for an average Chad that hasn't farmed those items that are powerful enough to wipe them all before they can even be a pest in the field. It also cemented meta things in the game and all it did was implement absolute dominance on the meta things to kill enemies in the game. Hell, it even created a meta that only invisibility, silence, and invulnerability are the best counter for these Eximus units. If you don't have these in your Warframe, then you are all screwed up and expect that it will be a tough fight dealing against multiple Eximus units. I think the nerf to the spawn rate is good, and it's better this way since it gives players a fighting chance to deal with these new Eximus units. Digital Extremes also fixed the new void missions, but we will not discuss this here. To be brief, they added more quality of life changes to the new game modes, making it less of a struggle farming stuff in these types of missions. Also, they have made an adjustment to how many void plumes you can get in a mission, which is kind of neat. Digital Extremes did change the number of void plumes you earn in a mission. They have made a game-wide change to how syndicate medallions spawn in missions. This of course also applies to the latest edition of void plumes. Before, medallions of all tiers spawned completely at random with no logic attached to them, but now, it is a guarantee that out of the 8 medallions that spawn in a mission, 1 will be rare, which is the void plume crest, 2 will be uncommon, and the remaining 5 will have a chance to be either common, 75%, or uncommon, 25%. Also, I don't know if this is common knowledge by now, but it seems that there's a rare storage container found in the Zariman mission right now that contains either Indo, or, the best part, a fully built former. The name of the container is called Malted Cask, and there is also an ancient variant of it. Some players are reporting that they found it and have a free fully built former at the end of the mission, but, since it's a rare container, it's not guaranteed to be in a specific mission every time. Just like other rare container and reinforced container in the game, it has this glow and that humming sound when you are near the container. However, it's unlikely to be spotted every time, and at first, I thought that the free former was within the Zariman missions, but when I have heard that it's a rare crate, then I just lowered my hopes on farming former at the fastest time possible. I'm now longing for the Plague Star event, which is the best former spawn, and just hoping that DE will bring it back sometime this year. Honestly, I was surprised by the many hotfixes that this update has in just a few days after its release. The update is short, and I was surprised that Digital Extremes have lots of things that need to fixed after the update was around. Angels of Zariman is probably the doorway to the next major update, which hopefully we will have this year, the Duviri Paradox. As I have discussed in my recent video, I think players are now not into crossplay that much, and waiting for the Duviri Paradox instead. I'm guessing that Angels of Zariman is like a preparation for the Duviri Paradox, and most of the things that we see here are connected to the next big open world. But, let me ask you this, are you satisfied with the Angels of Zariman update? Because honestly, I think that this update is not about the Angels of Zariman itself, but it's full of quality of life changes, and it seems to me that the Angels of Zariman update is just a bonus. The biggest part of this update is the Eximus rework, the focus rework, the operator quality of life changes, and other stuff which is like a sort of preparation for me in the upcoming future updates. The new game modes, the new faction, new stuff, items, and short laws that the Angels of Zariman update gave, feel like just bonus features of the main purpose of this update, and that is to tweak things in the game and add nerfs and buffs, or just to change the meta perhaps. Even though Angels of Zariman is short, I am still not disappointed, since it has given a lot of needed things for the game than the major update last year, which was the new war. If you compared this short update over that hours of talks and flashy things but no context, then you could easily say that you will take what Angels of Zariman have given, over something that is all form but no substance. Now, I would like to know your opinion on the current buffs and nerfs, and also, your overall thoughts about the Angels of Zariman update. Let us discuss this in the comments section below. Thank you so much for watching. Squad Leader signing off.